I've got more and more deeply into the Nancy Klein thinking environment model, discipline. It's not theory, it's things people do. So here are some thoughts on 8 specific payoffs that come from working towards, never mind adopting, the discipline of working in a thinking environment. These we run through quickly. As ever, there isn't anywhere near enough time to do this as thoroughly as I'd like. So the first I've got here is stronger, more respectful interactions. These are predominantly within teams, within people who work together, but they don't have to be. They could be with customers, suppliers, other people outside of the immediate work team. The key thing is that working in a thinking environment shows a consideration, a respect. Nancy Klein talks about an interest and a fascination for not just what people say, but how they're thinking, what they're thinking about. And I'm in no doubt that that's true, that when the thinking of others with whom we interact is respected, then better things result. Deeper, broader use of knowledge and skills. In 40 years in the learning and development industry, it disappoints me that so little use is made of the competencies, the capabilities, and the knowledge of so many people. And little interest is shown in what more they can give. In a thinking environment, there's greater likelihood that people feel prepared to come forth and say, well, I can also do this. Now I've been thinking about how I can contribute. This that I know or that I can do could be of value. It's about slowing things down, but not to make things less urgent, slowing things down to speed things up in a weird way, slowing things down from the activity, which is very often not well directed, to take the time to think about how best to proceed. And that means very often discovering talents in people that were not known before. I am moving fairly quickly through this. In a thinking environment, people who might otherwise have been passive or left out find space both to think and, if, for instance, a meeting is handled effectively, to contribute. I've witnessed so many situations where the same old people say the same old things in the same old way, the same old number of times, and most people say nothing in a group situation. So in a thinking environment, those in a position to manage that environment are consciously and deliberately thinking about how best to draw people in who might have contributions, for instance, to make, but are keeping them to themselves. That's a serious move forward in a lot of group situations. I like this picture. In a thinking environment, there's greater engagement and motivation. People like being in an environment where their thinking and others is respected. People feel more committed to a work team or an organization. I think a work team is far more likely to create these circumstances than the whole organization, than if that were not the case. So if people's thinking is encouraged, what do you think about this? And I'm interested in that. I'm going to give you the time and not interrupt you when you tell me about it. That creates an environment where people feel worthy, feel that their opinions matter. The opposite is too often the case. In a thinking environment, as a result of the things I've just been talking about, there is better use of talent. There's greater awareness and use of talent. There's also, as a consequence of that, higher retention. That carries with it its own value in very measurable financial terms. You don't have to keep replacing good people. In a thinking environment, people recognize they're in a place that is unusual and it's a place worth staying in. And if they move to a different place, it may not provide the same positivity as where they are now. A thinking environment generates better ideas, innovation, and creativity. In other words, if more people are involved, if more people's competencies, capabilities, contribution is gained, then there's a broader and very often better repertoire, range of options available. there is more innovation. Things are done differently and better as a result of a thinking environment involving more people and feeling that their contribution will be valued. And again, as a result of these things, two things on decisions: they're better and they're quicker. Again, one of the deep ironies of a thinking environment is you slow down to speed up. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Activity over productivity is wasteful. And it might appear like there's something going on, but what's going on is not impressive. If you slow things down, if you take a broader canvas of options, if you involve more people, if you respect the opinions and the capabilities of more people, then the quality of decision will ultimately, in most cases, I believe, be better and will be reached more quickly. That impacts on customers, that impacts on other parts of the organization, that impacts on anything we do, whether we're sole practitioners or we work in organizations. Thinking environments are good for decision making. And again, as a result of all of these things, what you get are workplaces which are unusual. Workplaces where people are happy, they smile, they go about enjoying their work, they don't moan about each other all the time. How many times to go into a shop and all the people there seem to be talking about is moaning about other people. In a thinking environment, people appreciate where they are. They appreciate the management, the leadership, which has created and sustained that unusual place. As a result, they feel good about where they are. They talk up that place. The reputation of that unit increases. People are happier, and as a consequence, people are more productive. That's where to find me. I won't plug any further than there it is. That's how you find me in various places. And I hope that's been helpful. I like to share my thoughts and ideas in the hope that they can be of benefit to fellow practitioners.